keep your purpose and your authenticity of who you are first. It works in marketing because in this day and age with AI, there's going to be a lot of fake stuff out there. People are going to be longing to see the real photographer, to see what you do and why you do it. That's what's going to make that connection.
Welcome to Off the Memory Card, the podcast where photographers talk about everything but taking photos, because photography is only 10% photos and 90% building a life and business you love. I'm Kathleen Burns. Let's dive in. I just want to preface by saying I am beyond excited about this episode because we are talking about something that affects all photographers, all small business owners, and that is marketing your business. And I want to make sure you get the most out of this, so I called in a true expert, someone who has been at this for decades, not only owning his own marketing agency, but also teaching other entrepreneurs how to market their businesses. So without further ado, Mr. BG Hamrick, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Kathleen. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So before we dive into all things marketing and all the nitty-gritty stuff, tell us a little more about yourself and what you do.
Sure. Well, I'm a West Virginia guy, born and raised here, married a West Virginia girl, and raised a couple daughters who are often married and have one granddaughter. 26 years ago or so, I started a marketing agency from scratch, from a small little bedroom in the town of Marmet. It's a little tiny town that we began doing websites for people, helping people to get found online. I'd never had a day of training in it. I just asked a couple of people, if I build you a website and you like it, will you tell other people about me? And that's how it all got started. And so 26 years later, self-taught, I've got a lot of certificates and, but no degrees in marketing. It's all been hard knocks, and it's all been, on the street, just boots on the ground, getting it done over the years, working with professional businesses of all sorts, and nonprofits and churches and organizations and service businesses, and some photographers over the years that have just been able to help get exposure online, get engagement online, and grow a business that way. So that's what I've been doing. As of recently, I handed over that business to my son-in-law, who now runs it full-time. I'm still in the day-to-day sometimes, but not very often, just enough to maybe mess things up and get on their nerves a little bit. But I'm really just part of the sales process now. I've changed my focus to help people learn how to use AI. And so I'm doing full-time AI education now, helping businesses to grow that. But still, marketing is a very big part of my life.
Absolutely. And I love the humble beginnings and how you've turned it into a family business and really just have grown it from the ground up like that. And I definitely want to get into the AI stuff later too, because it's definitely some fascinating stuff that can also help people with their marketing as well as their personal lives. But we'll start with marketing. You said 26 years. I'm curious, kind of what are some things that have changed pretty dramatically in that time span with marketing?
Oh, wow. Lots. We've seen a lot of, things flip from being important to not being important to being something that we put a lot of attention toward, and then all of a sudden it doesn't. I think what I've seen change mostly is we're back to trust and authenticity again in marketing, which I appreciate a lot. And I think culturally, we've gone from being a culture who was a bit taken in by marketing tactics and strategies that would often win at getting customers, but would lose in long-term credibility. And so I love that we've come back around in spite of AI and in spite of the digital marketing world that I've come from, that we're back to authenticity. People want to see real businesses with real people behind them. They want to see real, authentic dedication, commitment, experience, judgment. All those things are important again. That's the biggest change I'm seeing even right now. I mean, you say the last 20 years, I say the last 20 weeks of what we're seeing in marketing. It's just rapidly changing with things, but that's probably the biggest thing is the philosophy of marketing more than tactics. We still got to get people's attention, but I think the biggest thing is the philosophy and the trust behind marketing.
That's so interesting. And I love that. I think that's what a lot of people kind of want to hear right now, because, it's one thing to do all the shiny bells and whistles that people want to see. But at the end of the day, you want to be the person that people want to work with and show them what you're really all about.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the key to long-term success in marketing. Any campaign can grab attention and maybe work for a little while. Can you hold on to that customer long term? Will that customer tell other people about you and refer you? That's true marketing. When you want a customer and you want a relationship for a lifetime, and when that customer can confidently tell other people, you should call this person, you should use this service, that's when marketing is truly successful.
So if someone is starting their business from scratch right now and they hear this, they're thinking, well, I don't even know where to start. What would your recommendation for that be?
Well, I think, first of all, you have to understand what differentiates you from the rest of the world. I think a lot of people started marketing, they treat marketing like CPR sometimes. They wait until things slow down or they stop, and then they panic, and then they post hard for a couple of weeks, and then maybe some work might trickle in from that, and then they stop again and get busy, and then they enjoy that feast that it might get there. But marketing isn't really a campaign that you do one time. It really should be a system that runs in your life. And so if you start thinking about who you are and you've never marketed before, figure out the most painful points that your customer has, figure out what differentiates you in the market to make you different and unique in that. And I'm not talking about the years of experience that you have either. It doesn't matter if you've had 15 years of experience running a camera, running or doing photography, or nobody cares about that. What they want to hear is the story behind your life and what you've done and how they can connect to you on a personal level. And so don't go into this thinking you've got to come up with the perfect campaign. You actually need to make an emotional connection with people and make a real authentic connection with people and tell your story. So I would start by writing your story. Why are you doing this? Why does this matter to you? Is this a passion? If it's a money grab, I would maybe recommend doing something else. Find something that you like doing, that you're passionate about, and monetize that. But if you've never been in the public before, if you're just getting started or you have no budget, then think about why you're doing what you're doing, because people will buy into you much faster than they will your skills or technology first. And you'll have to prove that you know what you're doing. You'll have to prove that you have the ability to do what you do. But what will catch their attention, first of all, is your story. So start there would be my recommendation.
I love that. I love that. Growing that connection with clients and letting them see that's what you're all about. So if you have no marketing budget because you're just getting started, I assume social media would be the way to go.
Yes, social media is a great start to do that. If you're looking for first-time customers, I would start in your backyard. I would open up your phone and look at the people who are on your list first and start asking friends and family. Get recognition there first. Like I said, when I started my business some years ago, I just went to a lawyer and I think a physician, a doctor, and maybe a pastor. I can't remember now, but I think I picked like 3 people that I just knew would do a favor for me. And I said, if I build you a website, will you tell other people about it if you like it? And they did. So I would recommend that. Start on social media for sure, but you don't know how much to talk about that's going to be different or unique yet on social media. If you just get on and talk about basic photography or talk about your basic business packages or whatever, what's going to be different that's going to get people's attention on that? I would start with social media with some experience first, maybe a testimonial, maybe some examples. And if you don't have those, go book a weekend or 2 or 3 and get yourself a couple that can't afford a photographer and do it for them, and capture that moment, capture all the work that you did, package that, and let that begin to be your social media presence, your email presence, your website examples. All that's a good place to start. I think I answered your question right on that.
Absolutely. And what kind of content creation would you suggest? I mean, there are so many options these days. I know, like, for us, we like to try to post some behind the scenes stuff and different reels showing, what we're doing professionally, but also we'll throw some personal stuff in there sometimes too. But what do you recommend?
Yeah, I mean, it's really about, I guess it's different according to what your particular industry or niche is, and of course what your audience wants to see as well. But for me, for social media, I think social media should be social, and it's a stage. It's not a store. I don't think social media is a good place to sell. Another analogy we use sometimes is we'll say you don't ask somebody to marry you on the dance floor. You just get out on the dance floor and you mingle, you get to know each other, and then you might sit down and have a drink and talk about what you have in life that's in common, and you might say, let's go to dinner. And then at dinner, you get to know each other, and over time, you have the opportunity to pop the question or whatever it is, the next step of that relationship might be. I think social media is the same way. You don't just jump on social media and start selling. You don't have any trust there yet, and plus you sound like about a lot of other people. Now, buying ads on social media, that's a different thing altogether, but for just organic posts on social media, I like documenting your life. And who would be better at that than a photographer, in my opinion? Go behind the scenes. Instead of being behind the camera, go around in front of the camera and let people see what you do. You don't even have to create content. You really just show yourself editing photos, setting up gear, lighting a room, whatever it is you do every day. Just document that and show that and tell your story again through that. That's the easiest way to do content. So you really aren't creating content. You're just documenting your life, but you do it in a way that is, gives a bit of a presentation to your life too, because you have an end result you want to get to. You always want to do a call to action of some sort and bring people back. But really, to me, social media posts are for one reason. That's to get your email address. Everything I post on social media is to get you somewhere where I can capture an email address from you so that I can take you to the next level of my small world and bring you closer to me, where I have more control and I can share more with you, and it can be more intimate and more real, and I can start to build a relationship with you over time.
You made so many amazing points right there. First of all, I love when you said social media is a stage, not a store. I think a lot of people get that confused when they're trying to promote their businesses. And also, I love that you mentioned that how it's a starting point and that the main goal is to get their email address. And I think this is something that so many people do not understand. Also a great transition into another form of marketing, which is email marketing. And I would say this is how we get a lot of our business is through email marketing. So let's talk about that a little bit more. First of all, kind of the point of getting those email addresses.
Yeah, the point is relationship, long-term relationship. Social media changes its algorithms. Some go away. New social media platforms pop up all the time. It's rented land. We cannot depend on our marketing strategies living on someone else's platform. Email is something that you own. You can carry it with you from platform to platform. So if you want to start Substack next month, you can just take that list to Substack. If you want to start a new platform that somebody spins up in the 6 months, then you'll have an email address that an email list that you can then move and migrate toward that. So the whole thing is more about a deeper relationship with people, but it's one that you own and you control, and you can speak to them the message you want. You can speak to them as often as you want. You don't have an algorithm that is trying to limit your reach to them. You only have to write good emails and good subject lines that get attention that people will want to open. Emails are still, you still have to have a good strategy and a good email marketing message, because again, email is like anything else. We get a lot of it, and it gets lost. But we want to make sure that we have good, strong subject lines and good information to get people to connect with you and to go to the next level. But to answer your question, the main reason to have it, you own it. It's yours.
Yeah, absolutely. And plus with the algorithm, I mean, gosh, you never know how many people are going to see a single post. So if you are wanting to promote something big, like say you're getting ready to do fall mini sessions or Christmas mini sessions, if you just post that on your page, which first of all, you are, as you said, using it as a store rather than a stage. But if you just post that, not very many of your clients are going to see that. Whereas if you have collected their email addresses over time and send out that email, then you know they're all going to get it and be able to sign up for whatever spot they want.
100%. Yeah, that's exactly right. And you get to follow up with that as well in a way that makes sense. So you can offer short-term opportunities or limited deals that you can then follow up on and create more urgency so that you can close the gap and keep pushing people toward a decision in that call to action that becomes more urgent over time. Where in social media, if they miss the last few posts, they don't know how urgent it is because maybe they're just seeing you. But in an email, if it's a sequence, you get to drive them toward a deadline or to an opportunity, a seasonal or just an offer that you're making. It's really a good way to use email strategically.
So let's talk about collecting those email addresses. We've been in business for 11 and a half years. So it's one of those things that we have just done slowly over time. When someone books a session with us, then their email address immediately is going to go into our system. And that has allowed us to get 1,000 email addresses over the years. But for someone who is just starting, what would maybe be another way they could go about getting some email addresses from potential clients?
Well, I like to offer something that's valuable but free, but that's changed over time too. You asked me a while ago about the 20 years, and we've seen a lot of email offers change over the years, what we call lead magnets, things that you might give to someone that would, nobody just walks up and says, here's my email. We're very selfish. We want something in return for that, but so do you. That's why you're asking for the email, because you want to give something of value to them. So that's the first thing. I like to find what my customers' biggest needs are or biggest pain, and whatever they've expressed as being that biggest problem they need to overcome, I like to provide the answer for that. If I provide the answer, most people are willing to give an email address for that, whatever it might be. Pick the most painful situation that your customer might be in. If it's a wedding versus family photos or children photos or whatever it might be, pick the biggest pain point that those parents or that bride goes through in that moment and give that answer to them through some sort of valuable piece. It could be a video teaching that you do. It could be, I don't love PDFs or emails necessarily. What I like are email sequences. So when you give me your email address, I'm going to send you 7 days of planning your wedding or getting your wedding ready, photography ready, or whatever it might be. And some, steps that you might take someone through. Here are the top 9 things brides forget whenever they set up or interview a photographer, and send those out in a drip sort of email over time. Give them some sort of great value that keeps you top of mind with them and keeps you connected to them over time. Ebooks and PDFs, nobody really reads those anymore. They're not as powerful as they once were. They may come around again. You might interview me in 10 years and we'll be saying, hey, make an ebook. But right now, people don't consume those anymore. I would give them some sort of email string or some sort of video teaching, or possibly some email drip campaign would be the best offer you can give. But make sure you get very specific about that pain point and speak it just the way they do, not in your industry verbatim and technology terms. Speak the language the way they do it, and ask AI, how would a regular everyday person speak about this problem? The best way to do that actually is to interview your own customers that you've had in the past and find out what their problems are.
Well, that's great. I love all of that advice. That's perfect. I would say for us, our clients, very few of them actually come from social media. I think it's necessary for all the reasons we talked about, but I would say the majority come either from email marketing, word of mouth, because we've been around for a while, or Google. I can't tell you how many clients we say, hey, how did you find out about us? And they're like, oh, I just did a Google search. So let's talk a little bit about that and how to get that ball rolling.
Absolutely. So about 75% of local businesses these days get, I should say that differently. Most local businesses get about 75% of their business from the local map, from the Google map right now. If you're going to be found from obscurity, nobody knows who you are, and somebody just jumps on Google and starts searching best wedding photographer near me or best wedding photographer Charlotte, North Carolina, or whatever it might be, that's all going to come from that Google map, the Google business profile. So that's one of the most important and most valuable places and ownership that you can have online is that digital profile. It's free. If you don't have one, you should have one. I'm sure you know you should. If you've been in business for 10 minutes, somebody has said, where's your Google business profile? Where's your map? That's just where about 70% of your business is going to come from when it comes to searching. Now, there's lots of questions about AI and what that looks like now. If people are searching on ChatGPT or Claude, or they're looking at Gemini, do they find me, with that as well? Right now, most of what you do to be found locally with all other search engines is working for AI. There are some few securities and things that you could do differently, but it's not enough to really worry about yet, because those, those local areas are still picking up what we've always done in search engine optimization over the years. So the same things work that have always worked there, but you want to go deep into that Google business profile. What I see so many local businesses do, photographers the same, is they just put in one service or one service area or even one sort of product that they offer. Max that thing out, give it everything that it's asking for, every type of photography that you might do, every service that you might provide, give frequently asked questions, answer those inside of that Google business profile. Give that thing all you can, because it's still the most trusted search engine result of anybody who searches, because they can, with a thumb press, they can find out who you are, they can call you, they can get to your website, and they can see reviews of people that have used you. It's like the one-stop shop to be able to see everything about a photographer. It's still the most trusted. Beyond that, you can go, into Yelp, and you can get into white pages and other listings like that with local directories. But that's the number one way I would recommend doing that. I can answer AI if you want to know more about what that looks like, but we can go deeper into that portion. But the very first thing I would do is that Google business profile map.
Yeah, and I think, as you mentioned with AI, people who are using ChatGPT and Claude as the way they used to use Google, just typing it into there, the results they're going to get, I think, are similar to what they would get on Google, correct?
Yes, correct. They're almost identical, but when it comes to AI is pulling from Wikipedia. AI is pulling from places like Reddit.
Okay.
AI is pulling from places like Chamber of Commerce, BNI listings, those sort of things. So you want to get a little bit deeper into local directories when it comes to AI, because it's scraping some other places, and it's also looking at your website. One thing we didn't used to talk about much when we were talking about Google Business Maps versus the website is the website was a different thing we tried to rank. The Google Maps was another thing we tried to rank. But now Google wants not just location proof, but it wants proof of who you are, and that what you say you do on the Google Business Map, you prove it out on your website. So you want to make sure they match. You want to make sure that you have the same services listed on your website that you have listed on your map, so that when Google does the search and it's looking for proof of who you are, then it will be able to cross-reference that. And then it's looking for testimonials on your website to prove that you do it for real people and that those real people have given you good rankings about that. So it's a bit of a loop. You want to make sure that it has all of the proof of both relevance, of geographical relevance, of, that you are truly who you say you are and what you do, and give it all of these different signals, we call them, to get Google's attention to recognize you are who you say you are.
So you really do want to make sure you have all of your bases covered when it comes to this, as far as your website, the testimonials, all of the above.
Yes, all the above.
Testimonials a little bit more, because I think this is something that has helped us a lot. And it was almost unintentional, but now that we know how much it helps us, we do try to be a little more intentional about it. And this is actually something I know I should be better about, but I also recommend other photographers doing, is every time you wrap up your session, when you send that gallery, put in the email, hey, I would love for you to leave us a Google review if you had a great experience with us, and put the link in there, make it easy for them. I think the easier it is for people to help you, the more likely they're going to. I mean, I know that sounds like a no-brainer, but...
Yeah, but you're right. We just don't think about it sometimes, or we're in the midst of, packing up or closing down or whatever, and you've spent time and nobody wants to take that one more step, and I hate to bother you for this, the kind of thing, but it is vital for your business. And if you've done a good job, most people are willing to do that. Some of the ways I like to do this, you're not allowed on a Google side to gate those testimonials. So you want to be careful not to send people to something where they just fill out a form, and if it's a bad review, you don't push it on to Google. That was done for a lot of years. You just really want to give people the best authentic opportunity to tell people, the public what it is you've done. So don't gate those. Don't say, give me a testimonial, and oh, by the way, that was a good one, so here's my Google review. You can go there now and do that. Don't try to gate those and keep them from doing it. You also are not really allowed to seed the testimonials with, what you want them to say, but there are some, ways you can get around that. And the reason it's important is because Google really gives a lot of attention to testimonials that speak about certain keywords that people are searching for. For instance, if you went to a wedding and you did a great photography, relationship, or you had a great opportunity to work with a couple and it turned out wonderful, but they just say great photographer, highly recommend, that doesn't do a whole lot. It might help in the number of testimonials you're getting, but what was great about it? I'd really like for you to go deeper. So you can kind of not seed them, but you can say, when you give this testimonial, would you tell me exactly what it was about the photography day or the experience that was good? Just kind of pull from them a little bit, because that will go so much further in a testimonial as far as the searches go. And it also is good for just a human who's reading the testimonial or hearing a video of it to know specifically, because they're going to hear their fears and their problems and their concerns being alleviated by the very words that couple is saying. So if you can pull out more detail, I'm going long in this answer, but I think it's important that you have a good testimony, not just a regular generic good job, highly recommend, or just 5 stars with no text at all given. That's the best way to go about it. The ideal testimonial is video. If you can capture them, and I can't, you just use your phone. If you've already packed up, it's probably better anyway. Just hold up the phone and, can you just give me this experience today? How was it? I like 3 questions.
The 3 questions I like to ask are, where were you when you found me? What were you looking for? What was your problem? What challenge did you have? Then the second question I would have would be, what has been your experience with us? Just share how the experience was working with us, how the experience was getting from start to finish, just anything you want to share about the whole process. And then the third question I always ask is, what would you tell someone else who is considering using us for their photography or for whatever service you provide. Those 3 questions set you up to give you might have to edit them a little bit, but it'll set you up to give you really good conversational testimonials that will not just be yes questions, but will be more in-depth information that will help you create a better testimonial overall.
And there's a few ways you can use testimonials. Obviously, you want to get some, Google reviews, but they're also good to have on your website. Let's talk a little bit more about websites and other things that are included in your website, like landing pages. So if you want to touch on that a little bit.
Yes. So there's a difference between a landing page, a website, and what we call a squeeze page.
And these are words that a lot of people have never even heard, especially if they're new in business. So, yeah, sorry if we're blowing your mind here for a second, but
yes, I'll slow my roll and make sure I'll tell you anyways. Yeah, a website. Typically, we know what a website is. It's the all-encompassing web presence that you have that talks about who you are, what you do, your services, your packages. Everything will be included in multiple pages on a website. A landing page might be a page that's found on your website, but it has a specific job to do. A landing page is more of your sales page. It might be where you go to place an order. And what you don't want to do is just usually send people who are ready to buy or at the moment of making a purchase with you, just send them off to your website because they can get distracted. They can get there and find a gallery. They can find information. They start reading. If they're in that moment of ready to purchase or to sign up, in that particular link, you want to send them directly to a landing page that gives them the ability to just think about that one call to action. If they get distracted, they may not buy, or they may come up with other questions. So on your website, I would recommend building a very narrow focused page where people place an order, whether they sign a contract or whatever it is they do. Now, if you do this in person, it's a moot point. But if you do it with digitally speaking, you send them to a page where they place an order, put in a credit card, set up a deposit, whatever it might be. Make sure that's on a place that doesn't have a whole lot of distractions on it, other than maybe some additional testimonials you might want to add on that page to kind of seal the deal when they're there. So that's a landing page. A landing page is where people make a contractual agreement with you or order something or pay for something, and that's all it's for.
So if you have a bride reach out to you about your photography, you don't want to just send your website, you want to send a page all about weddings and, hey, here's how you book with us.
Perfect. Yes. And you can have a landing page for every type of service that you do so that it stays focused on that particular topic. Yes. Keep that way. So that's a landing page. A squeeze page is something totally different. Squeeze page is only there to get one thing, an email address. That's where you put something of value out in front of people on social media, or maybe through an email blast, or maybe it's on a brochure or a QR code, or wherever people might get a link back to this page where they can download a thing that is valuable to them that they can take away and use. Put that on a squeeze page. Make that even more simple than a landing page, because all you want there is the email. They came to get that thing. Put a title there that says, this is that thing. Here's the email address. I'll send it right to you. And it comes automatically from that. That's a little bit of a, maybe more complex when it comes to marketing than the average local photographer. If this is part of that latter value, you want to start with the email, give them something valuable, do a consultation, take them to a place where maybe you're describing the services, all the while getting them to the place of that ultimate contract of whatever level that might be. But you just have to welcome people simply and easily and slowly into this relationship. Don't ask them to marry you on that dance floor. Don't get up on the stage of social media and say, buy my stuff. Just talk about what you do, answer questions, pull them in a little closer. Landing page is the last step usually in that call to action. Squeeze page is usually the first step in that handshake relationship with a new customer.
And because these are a little more advanced than your standard website, say you have a photographer who, like me, is not very tech savvy, what's your advice for getting started? Is there education out there on how to do this? Are there Is there certain software that is better than others? Should they save up and hire someone? What are the different options?
Yeah, I mean, from 26 years of being a marketing agency, this goes against everything I've done for 26 years. You really don't have to hire a website designer these days. You can get started with Squarespace or Wix or something of that nature, and those programs and platforms will allow you to create smaller, less distracting pages within that website so that you can get this strategy going. So it's not necessary to get a marketing agency or to get a website designer to create this. You can start this. And in fact, you probably should, so that you understand the marketing principles that are behind it, so that when you do get to the level where you can hire an agency, you'll understand the process and a marketing funnel that you can help that particular agency accelerate for you and amplify it for you the best way. I think a business should learn this marketing stuff on their own. Everybody says, I'm not a marketer. I'm not tech. I don't understand a lot of this stuff. I think that's certainly fine to position yourself that way at the beginning, but after that, it's an excuse. I think you don't stay there. There are too many tools, too much education, too much opportunity to learn this stuff through AI or anywhere else. All you have to do is go out and figure this out. Just learn it. As a local business, you have to be a master at getting attention online, and you have to be able to create content to get attention in your local market. If you don't, you're completely invisible to the local market. You can't create brochures and hand out enough door hangers or make enough relationships in your local chamber of commerce to do business. It's not enough. You have to figure this technology out. You got to get on the digital side in order to make that happen. You can learn it. You can do it. There's YouTube videos by the hundreds to teach you how to do this. There are, again, AI tools that will help you walk through it. Just ask your AI, how do I do this? You know my business, what do I do? I suggest that you just don't stay there in the ignorance.
That's exactly where I want to go next with this, is because I'm not a tech savvy person, this stuff has always scared me. And this is something I've learned from you lately after joining a program that you're now doing all about AI, is the things that I could not do a month ago. I'm kind of killing it. I'm not that great, but I'm doing a lot better. I've built things in the past month that I never thought possible. And it has been because of AI. And I know AI is controversial, but it is here. It's not going anywhere. And so I think we have to embrace it and use it how we can. And so I want you to talk a little bit about what you are doing with AI and how you are teaching others to use it as well.
Sure. So my view of AI at this point in life is that it's another one of those new technologies that I think it's beneficial for every industry and every person at some level, in some degree. I don't know that it's going to replace every job, but it has already replaced a lot of jobs. I don't know if it's going to radically upset the world the way we think it is in the next year, but in the next 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years, we will not recognize the world we live in when it comes to the economy and the structure of how we do things on a regular day-to-day basis. I kind of liken it to, if you picture everybody standing around a light switch on a wall, and everybody's like, we're going to turn on the light now, but we don't know which bulb we want to use. Do we use ChatGPT? Do we use Gemini? Do we use Claude? It's just light right now. So just flip the switch, get the light on in the room, and learn what AI is all about. Stop concentrating so much on all the different platforms and the different ways you can use it. You need to expose yourself to it pretty quickly. It is getting all that feedback of negativity that radio got when it came out, television came out. It's evil, it's terrible, it's going to change everything, and it is. But I think we can either jump in and embrace it, or we can be a victim of it. either way it's coming. I think we just need to absolutely dive in and own it and get to know it. I don't think it's as scary once you're in there to figure out what it can do for you. I think you just need a place to start. You're not late yet, but it's getting close. So you want to make sure that you don't put this off, because you won't be replaced by, especially in photography, you're not going to be replaced by AI, but someone in the photography world who can edit or respond or reply or turn around a wedding package faster because AI helped them, or turn around a proposal faster than you can because you're still doing it manually, you're going to be replaced by that. Not by the AI itself, but by someone who knows how to use it to amplify and accelerate their business faster.
I've sometimes said, you can build a house with a hammer and nails, but if you have a nail gun, it's going to go a lot faster.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes.
And I know that I used it for a lot of tech stuff, which has helped me to build things and do them faster and cheaper than I would have been able to do without it. But there's so many other things you can use it for, not only for your business, but also in your personal life. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So I'm using it for just actually streamlining the things in my life that I just do day to day that I don't like to do anymore. Emails are part of my personal life as much as it is part of my business life. So I'm tired of spam email, going through email every day. So I just have my AI at 5:30 in the morning before I wake up, come in and scrape my email box and then bring to me what is important and what is not. And it creates drafts and puts those in my outbox. And then I just go in, and if I like what it said, I hit send. If I don't like it, I just edit it, and it takes me so much less time to do so. I've gotten rid of all of the health apps that I've used. Used lots of, logs and trackers and things over the years to track my food and my macros and my exercise. I don't use any of those anymore. I just open up my AI and go, I had a peanut butter sandwich and a handful of Ruffles potato chips, and let it figure out the macros and tell me, what all that was. And it logs it, puts it in there. It reminds me later of what I've eaten and I shouldn't have eaten, or whatever it might be. It's an accountability coach, kind of helper, and a bit of a guide. But it's AI that knows my life now. That's what we're teaching, is that build an AI that knows you. Don't build an AI that you have to rent, much like we talked about social media for marketing. People are renting AI too, and I don't want to rent my AI's memory on some platform that I've got to change later. So we are teaching how to keep it on your local machine so that it goes with you wherever you go.
And you've created a system that does this, and you're offering it to other people. And I'm lucky enough to be in that group. And the AI assistant even has a name, Alfred, because I know you love Batman. But it's one of the things like you can change and make it your own. But talk a little bit about what you've created and how you are giving it to others.
Absolutely. So after working with AI since Thanksgiving, around Thanksgiving, I had a lot of family in and out. We'd spend a lot of time together over the holidays. We typically do a lot of stuff together over the holidays. And so I was just sitting after something had settled one evening, and I opened up the computer, watched a YouTube video, and somebody talked about something called OpenClaw. OpenClaw was this software you could install on your computer, and it would take over your computer and do all the things that you wanted it to do. But it would have its brain connected to one of these larger language models like ChatGPT, or at that time, that's who we had, Claude or Gemini, whatever you wanted. So I was fascinated by this. And then I got to see all the comments on it. People are like, stay away. It's risky. It'll destroy everything. It'll take over. It's basically malware on your computer. It'll destroy you. So I installed it and gave it access to everything that I had on that computer, like some kind of fool, and figured out what it would do. I just wanted to go all in and just kind of see what it did. I had an old computer and set it up. So I just let it run, figured out what it could do. I found all those dangers. I saw all those risks. They are real. You want to be careful always with any technology. even email is risky, but we're using it every day. So I got in and I figured it all out and I said, I love this. Well, 1,800, 2,000 hours later to this day, I figured out a way to give my AI one folder on my machine that remembers everything about me and my life and my business. I train it in that folder. I give it all that memory, and that's Alfred. That's what I created as the product, or it's more of a second brain for your AI. It's a smart AI that is connected to your life that you can take from computer to computer and from brain to brain, from ChatGPT to Gemini to Claude, whichever one you prefer. You can use and connect it with that, and it runs your life that way. So you can customize it to do the things that matter to you. It's private, it's safe, it's yours. And I think it's where we will probably end up as a culture in what's called sovereign AI, where all of the AI brain is eventually going to live on our local machine, and we won't be giving all of our information away to some third-party platform. That's how I see it going. That's
it's amazing. And just a little testimonial to you. I love it. My life is so much easier. I feel like now that I have it, I open it up on my computer every morning. It tells me, what I have going on that day. It has different projects open. It says you're working on this. These are different tasks you need to do in these projects. And I just feel like my brain is more organized and it kind of has lifted a burden. And that's all in addition to all the amazing things I've been able to build just by typing in, hey, how do I do this? How do I do that? It's incredible. You have built something truly amazing. So kudos.
Well, I love that it's helpful. And it's, it's my life's work now. It's what I want to do. I realize there are people like me and people like you who are like, I'm pulling the curtain back for the first time on AI. Where do I start? That's my love, my passion. I want to bring people like you and me along. We're not too old. We're not too technologically, unadvanced in our life. We can get there. I love this learning. Yeah, I agree. In fact, I think we are what makes AI better. This is not to say anything against the younger generation, but they have not yet lived the experiences, nor do they have the judgment calls from history that we have. So I think as you get older and apply AI to your life, it actually becomes an even more powerful tool than it is in the hands of some of the younger generation at this point.
And side note, I don't know if it's going to take over and run our lives, but I personally always use my manners and say please and thank you to Claude, just in case if the bots do take over, they'll remember that I'm nice.
I think that's a great, yes, I make that recommendation as well, because Arnold Schwarzenegger shows up at my door and it's an AI takeover from the future. We want to at least have been kind to it, and maybe it'll share some.
All right. Well, we have covered so much ground today and given people so much to think about. Is there anything else that you want to add that you want people to understand about marketing their business, using AI to market their business, using AI in their lives? What do you want people to truly get out of this, I guess?
Yeah, and this is probably my biggest passion at this point in my life. I'm 60 years old, and I've gone through a lot of iterations in my life and learning things over the years and trying to figure out who I wanted to be as a person. And I don't want to get real woo-woo on your podcast and get weird.
Double woo-woo.
Yeah, and double woo-woo. So I like when people embrace their purposes and their direction in life that brings, satisfaction and brings, purpose and real meaning to their life. So on both sides, from marketing to AI, I would only encourage your viewers to say, what do I want my business to be and what do I want my life to be? And stay focused on the things that matter most to you. Both of those things we talked about today are going to work better for you if you keep your purpose and your authenticity of who you are first. It works in marketing because in this day and age with AI, there's going to be a lot of fake stuff out there. People are going to be longing to see the real photographer's real passion and real heart to see what you do and why you do it. That's what's going to make that connection. And from the AI side, your judgment and your history and experience are what's going to make AI actually work. It amplifies everything in your life. So if your life is a little bit crumbly, it's going to amplify that. So get your life in order, figure out who you want to be, get things lined up, figure out what you want to be, tell AI that information, and let it take you to a new level of living the life that you've always dreamed of.
Very well said. That may be the best advice I've heard in a very long time. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, for sharing your expertise. I appreciate it so much. And I can't wait to see where AI and everything takes us in the future. And I know you'll be one step ahead of most, and just very exciting stuff. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kathleen. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me today.
All right. Have a great week, everyone. I will see you next week. Work hard, be kind, stay humble.
Thanks for listening to Off the Memory Card. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you'd like some more support on your photography journey, head over to usethatcamera.com.